Okay. Sorry guys, my internet went bad. But okay, I will pick it up again from here. So, writing the point slope form of a linear equation, that is, um, what I'm going to do is instead of taking 2 points, um, like I did the other time, look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something like this. So I will pick a point, call it x1, y1, x1, comma, y1, x1, comma, y1. Then I'm going to pick arbitrary point. What I mean is it could be any point on that line. So instead of calling it y2, x2, y2, I just call it x, comma, y. Okay, so I will do that. And now, what is the slope? Our slope is just following what we did the other time. This is our new y now. It has moved from here to this point, right? So that is y minus y1 divided by, again, this is x1, and this is where I have my x now. This is x1, this is x. This is y1, and this is where I have y, right? So in that sense, I will have x minus x1. And now if I cross multiply, I will have something like this. I will have y minus y1 times 1, that is y minus y1, equals to m times x minus x1. And that is how we have this. So I will call this point slope form for a linear equation. And m, again, is the slope. X1, y1 are the x and y coordinates of a specific point through which the line passes. So you can see at this point, the line passes through that point. Okay, now moving on. Um, let us take example. Let us take example. Suppose a line has a slope of 2. That is, our m is 2, a slope of 2. M is 2. And that line passes through the point 4, comma 0. Let's say we have something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So 4, comma 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So these points, and let's say the slope is 2. Well, let's say we have something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to show you it passes through uh, that point. Okay. Now the question is, we should write the equation of the line. Now it passes through this point 4, comma 1, and the slope m is 2. Well, remember that we can write it in uh, point slope form. Point slope form. Why do we call it point slope form? We have a single point, points, then we have a slope. So we can write it in point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So which is y minus our y1. If I go to the point I have, remember, this is my x1 and this is my y1. So that is y minus 1 equals to slope is 2 into x minus my x1 is 4. So I can leave it that way, or I can, do some stuff like y minus 1 equals to 2 times x is 2x, positive times negative, negative 2 times 4, 8. So y equals to 2x minus 8. I can bring this to the other side, and I have plus 1. Or you say add 1 to both sides. So we have y equals to 2x minus 7. So this is, you would see, wait, teacher, um, this is like y equals to mx plus b. Yes, you are very right. All what I did here was, this is in point, what's it called? Point slope form, point slope form, point slope form, point slope form. So I only show you that we can also move from point slope form to um, slope intercept form. And a question can ask you to uh, write it in point slope form and also rewrite it in slope intercept form as we have in the next example. So quickly, I'm going to say the slope in this case is 3, and the point is 6, 1. Therefore, in point slope form, I will have y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So y, even though in this problem, the problem has not mentioned that you should write it in point slope form, but since I have a point and I have the slope, that is what I should do. Okay, so minus y1, you know that our y1 is 1 because this is x1, y1. Okay, 1 equals to the slope is 3 into x minus x1 is 6. So that is in point slope form. Then the condition is that we need to rewrite it in slope intercept form. So we just need to keep going. Y minus 1 equals to 3x minus 18. And y equals to, I can add 1 to both sides. That is 3x minus 18 plus 1. So y equals to 3x minus 17. So this is the equation of that line in slope intercept form. Slope intercept form. Slope intercepts form. This is in one this is in point slope form. So you can see that if we are given just one point and the slope, this is the best guy we use, the point slope form. So you can pause the video and do the same thing you have been doing for this try it, just to engage yourself, and then you continue. Okay, writing the equation of a line using 2 points. Now, if I ask you, what do you think we should do if we have 2 points? In this case, we do not have slope. We were only given 2 points. Well, you know from my explanation up front that we can find the slope if we know the 2 points, right? We can find the slope if we have the 2 points, and that is what we are going to do in this case. So remember that to find the slope, we will say, we will do something like this. Slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. I will call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So I just need to fill in y2 is 7 minus y1 is 1 divided by x2 is 8, and x1 is 5. So that is 6 divided by 3. That is 2. So my slope is 2. Now, how do we write? We want to write it in point slope form. If I want to write equation of a line in point slope form, what do I need? I need a point and I need a slope. Here I have 2 points. Which one should I take? Any one. You can take any one. It will work. So for this example, I will pick the first one. Let's pick the first one, 5, 1, and the slope is 2. So remember, point slope form is y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So in this case, this is x1, y1. So in this case, we have y minus y1 is 1 equals to m, which is 2, into x minus x1 is 5. So that is y minus 1 equals to 2x minus 10. So if I add 1 to both sides, I will have y equals to 2x. Then I bring this guy to the other side. That is minus 10 plus 1. That is minus 9. Well, in slope, in point slope form, this is my answer. And in slope intercept form, this is my answer. Okay. Well, wait. What if we pick the other point, 8, 7? Are we going to have the same answer? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So again, I will use y minus y1 equals to slope times x minus x1. So that is y minus, in this case, my y1 is 7. This is my x1 in this case. So 7 equals to 2 times x minus x1 is 8. So that is y minus 7 equals to 2x minus 16. So if I add 7 to both sides, I will have y equals to 2x minus 9, which is exactly what we have here. So any points will work, but the 2 points will be used to find the slope. Okay, moving on. Write the equation of a line from a graph. Also, we can write equation of a line if we are given a graph, as in this case. Well, remember that, let's read it. Write an equation for a linear function given a graph of f as shown. Now, okay. Now, remember I can write equation of a line as mx plus b. My b is what? My b is y-intercept. That is the value of y when x is 0. In this case, when x is 0, our y is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2, meaning that our b is 2. So we know this. What else do we need to find? We need to find the slope. Now, how do we find the slope in this case? Remember our rise overrun. I can come here and do something like this. And do something like this. Now, if I'm reading my graph from the left, which we should do, you see that this is an increasing function. How many steps do I take? From, let me use another color. From here to here is 2, because that is 4 2 to 4, that is 2. Ear to ear, that's another 2, making 4. Ear to ear, that is another 2, making 6. So the change in y is 6. You can say slope is change in y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that is my y2 is 8 minus y1, the starting point here, is 2 divided by x2. Well, this is my x2, this is my x1. So that is 2 minus 0. x2 is 2, x1 is 0. So that is 6 divided by 2, and the answer is 3. Now, I can write the equation of that line. Therefore, the equation of the line is y equals to, the slope is 3, so 3x plus the v we have is 2. So that is the equation of that line. This should be exercise, but let me quickly show you something. I will just start it and leave it for you to complete. If f of x is a linear function with f of 2 equals to minus 11, what does that mean? F of 2 equals to minus 11. Do you agree that I can write it as 2 comma negative 11? This is the input, remember, x, and this is the output, y. So that is that. And the other one, f of 4 is negative 25. So that is input is 4, output is negative 25, right? So find an equation for the function in slope-intercept form. So you know what to do from there. Find your slope, then find the slope. You can use one of the 2 points to write it in slope point slope form, then you rewrite it in slope intercept form, just like as we have been doing. Okay, let us look at some real world problems. Suppose Ben starts a company. Ben is starting a company in which he incurs a fixed cost. There is a fixed cost. I explained the meaning of fixed cost the other time, of 1,250 per month for the overhead, which includes his office rent. That is when he hasn't even produced anything. He's already spending $1,250. His production costs $37.50 per item. Write a linear function C, where C of x is the cost for X items produced in a given month. Okay, let us try to do that. Remember, C of X, our output is the cost, our input is the items, number of items. Do you agree that it will take this form MX plus B? Let us label this part. This is the cost we are looking for. We leave it that way. Slope, do we know the slope? That is the question you need to ask yourself. This is always bearing the item. So you leave it as X. Then do we know the starting? That is when Ben hasn't produced anything. The y-intercept, the cost intercept in this case, right? Do we know it? Yes, we know it. It is 1,250. Do we know M? Remember how I explained change the other time, rate of change per a unit item. In this case now, per item, Ben is going to be spending $37.50 per item. Look at that, dollars per item. Rate of change per one item is spending 37.50. Therefore, we just need to write C of X equals to C of X equals to, our slope is 37.50 x, where x is the number of items, plus 1250. Answer. That is the equation that models Bain's costs of production. The other part of the problem says, what is the production cost for 100 items? Now let us find the production cost for 100 items. That is, we are looking for what? We are looking for C. So I will call this the A part, call this the B part. So that is C of 100. That is when X is 100. That is 37.50 times 100 plus 1250. So that is 3750 plus 1250. And that is 250 plus 750. That is 1,000. 3, 4. So that should be $5,000 for that month, for a given month, for producing 100 items. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I can write the units here because I know that the cost is in dollars. So the unit is dollars. So always take note of units because that is what tells the story about what we are doing, right? So we that's okay. Another one, Marcus currently has 200 songs. What does that mean to you? Marcus currently has 200 songs in his music collection. Every month, he adds 15 new songs. Every month, he adds 15 new songs. Do you agree with me that currently, that is, when you have not considered what Marcus is adding, he has 200 songs. So I can say my B is 200 songs. Every month, he adds 15 new songs. Write a formula for the number of songs and in his collection as function of time. I want to write n as a function of time. That is the number of songs depending on time. So again, I need the slope, which is going to be like the rate of change for every 1 month, right? The time is a month. So plus the starting point B. Now, n of t is, what is the slope? Well, we have the slope. Every month, it has 15 songs. So the rate is 15 songs, 15 songs per month. Does that make sense? Our slope is 15 songs per month. So we have 15. Then plus what it currently has is 200. So that is the formula that model Marcos situation. The other part is saying how many songs will he own in a year? How many songs will he own in a year? Just ask yourself, how many months do we have in a year? 12. So N of, so you won't use 1 because our time is measured in months. So you need to convert that 1 year to months. You need to convert this 1 year into months, which is 12. So that is n of 12 equals to 15 times 12 plus 200. And here we're going to have, I believe this is 180 plus 200. How do I do that? I can say 15 times 10, that is 150. I have 2 left here. So 15 times 2, that's 30, plus 150, that's 180, plus 200. So that is, again, 380. So it's going to be having 380 songs. in 1 year. Okay. Uh, Right. Another one. Okay, let me still solve this. So you will see my problem is coming in different form. Let's see this form. Working as an insurance salesperson, Ilya earns a base salary plus a commission on each new policy. That is very good. We all want some level of commission, right? So that is the case with Ilya. She has some base salary plus a commission. Therefore, Ilya's weekly income, which is I, depends on the number of new policy and it sells during the week. Ilya's income depends on number of policy, right? Last week, he sold 3 new policies and earned $760 for that week. Can I write it this way? Income, which depend on 3 new policy equals to 760. Is that true? Last week, he sold 3 new policies and earned 760 for the week. The week before, he sold 5 new policies and earned 920. That is the income that depend on 5 new policies fetched Ilya 920. Find an equation, I of n, and interpret the meaning of the components of the equation. Well, this is just what we have. Let us see how we can use what we have in this case. If you pause the video the other time to find the, let me take you back to that problem, this problem. Okay, I even interpreted what this means, right? F of 2 is -11 in terms of point. Can I do the same thing here and say this is exactly 3,760? Inputs, this is inputs, and this is output. This is X, this is Y, right? X1, Y1. Beautiful, right? The other one, this guy, I can write it as 5, 920. Again, this is X, this is Y. I can say this is X2, this is Y2. Now, you know what that means. I can find the slope. I can find my linear equation now. Okay, so this is what we are looking for, that equation. So let us find slope. Can I say M equals to, well, I can label this X1, or can say, where is X coming from? No worries. I can say this is N1. This is income 1. This is N2. This is income 2. So my slope will be I2 minus I1 divided by N2 minus N1. So which is 920 minus 760 divided by 5 minus 3. So that is 0. That is 0, then 6. That is 6, 8, 160 divided by 2. So that is 80. 80 what? 80. This is in dollars, right? This is in dollars, and this is in policy. So that is $80 per policy, right? So that is the slope, the rate of change. Now, having found that, we can now use, remember, I can pick any point. Since I know my slope is 80, I can pick one of these 2 points. I showed you the other time that anyone will work. So pick any point, 760. So then I use my slope point form. I use my, remember my slope point form is y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. In this case, I can write it as I minus I1 equals to m into n minus n1. Is that true? There is nothing fancy here. Just know your input, just know your output. That's all. So that is I minus I1 is, in this case, this is my I1 and 1. So 760 equals to M 80 into N minus N1 is 3. So that is the equation in slope point form. I don't need to do anything to that. The reason why I've been doing it the other time was just to show you how to move from point slope form um, to slope intercept form. So if you leave it that way, that is fine. Or if you want to get to the end, you can keep going. I minus 760 equals to 80n minus 240 if you distribute 80. So that is I equals to 80n minus 240. You add 760 to both sides. So I equals to 80n plus, so this is 0, this is 2, this is 5. What is the unit? Dollars. Well, I know that my I is in terms of N. It's dependent on N. Okay. So you can pause the video and make sense of this problem by yourself. Now, that is, try to solve this problem before you proceed. You can pause the video, solve it before you proceed. Okay. Another concept we want to learn is how to determine whether lines are parallel or perpendicular. That is, we want to learn if I have two lines, if they are parallel or if they are perpendicular, if they meet at angle 90 degrees. How do we use this knowledge we just learned to do that? We say two lines are parallel if they do not intersect. Everybody should know that. The slopes of the lines are the same. Look at the line I have here. Look at the lines I have in this situation. The slopes, the same, right? The slope are the same. They're never meeting, they are going same way, behaving same way. So we say the slope are the same. That is, if we have one function, we have another function, g of x, uh, mx plus b, mx plus b, we say they are parallel if the slope of the first function is equal to the slope of the second function. That is, if m1 equals to m2. Okay. If their intercept are the same and the slope are the same, we say they coincide. What does that mean? If the slope are the same only and they have different intercept, we say they're parallel, right? Look at this. This is what I'm saying. This is a line, this is another line. So they have different y-intercept. There is y-intercepted, there is y-intercepted, different. But because they are parallel, we say the slopes are the same. So we say they are parallel. What will happen if they have the same slope and they have the same intercept? Which means the other line we have to lie on the other one, right? So we say they coincide. They coincide. That is, They are the same. Okay, moving on. What of perpendicular? We say two lines are perpendicular lines if they intersect at 90 degrees. That is, if they intersect at 90 degrees. Again, we have function f, function g. We say they are perpendicular if the product of their slopes, if the product of their slopes is giving -1. So that is m1 times m2 equals to -1. So that is all what you need to check. Find the two slopes, multiply them together. If the result is -1, then you claim that the two lines are perpendicular. Okay. And you can also say, well, okay, um, you can, from there, you can also say, well, the second slope will be -1 divided by the first slope, or vice versa. It's the same thing. Okay, given the functions below, identify the functions whose graphs are a pair of parallel lines and a pair of perpendicular lines. Let us see from this equation. Uh, for f of x, the slope is 2. Can you see that? In terms of y equals to mx plus b, the slope, we can identify the slope there is 2. Okay, for for h of x, the slope is -2, right? It's -2. We can make some conclusions there. F of x and h of x are not parallel because if they are parallel, they must have the same slope. Speaking of that, look at j. The slope is 2. Oh, j of x has a slope which is 2. I can make conclusion that f of x is parallel. Or you can just say, f of x and j of x are parallel lines. Done. Parallel lines. Parallel should be single out. Parallel lines. Since they are the same slope. They are equal slope. Okay, that is that. Now, what about, let us look at, we've not talked about g. G of x is having a slope, g of x is having a slope of m equals to 1/2. 1/2. Well, if I multiply the slope of g of x, which is half by 2, it's going to give me 1, not -1. If I multiply by 2, it's going to give me 1, not -1. But if I multiply by -2, it's going to give me, look at it, 1/2 times -2 is -1. Then I will claim that g of x and h of x are perpendicular. So another conclusion is that h of x and g of x are perpendicular lines. Why? That is not enough to just conclude that. You need to give reasons. Since or because, since -2 times -1, sorry, shit. Since negative 2 times, or you can just say since the product of their slopes, since the product of their slopes is -1. Done. So that is that. I hope, yeah, it's just revision of what you've learned in the past. Okay, find a line. Another example, find a line parallel to the graph of f of x equals to 3x minus 6 that passes through the point 3, 0. Now let us put everything we've learned together. Let us see. Find the line. Find a line. We want to find a line. But that line has to be parallel. There is a secret that will help us to solve this problem. That line is parallel to this graph. Even though we don't have any information about this new line we are looking for, this guy helps us in a way since they are parallel. Let the line be, let's say, g of x. Then g of x as a slope of what? A slope of 3. A slope m equals to 3. How do I know? Since f is parallel to g, then they must have the same slope. So that means the slope of g is 3. Done. Now look at it. And it passes through this point. Now, guys, you have m and you have a point through which g passes through. Then we know what to do now. So we say since g passes through, uh, point 3, 0, we have, what do we have? Y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. You remember, we have a point and we have slope, so we can use point slope formula. So that is y minus, what is y1? y1 is 0, x1 is 3. So y1 is 0 equals to m. Our m is 3 into x minus, what is x1? 3. Guys, we are done. So y equals to 3 into x minus 3. Answer. Are we asked to write it in? We are not asked to write it in slope intercept form or whatever. So we can just leave it that way. I hope that makes sense. Let me, do I have another? Okay, there is another example here. So find the equation of a line. Again, we are looking for a line, but now it is perpendicular to this point. Now, remember that. So again, we can say let the new line be g of x. Since f of x and g of x are perpendicular, it means that the product of their slope must be -1. Is that true? Yes. Now, look at it. Slope of f is 3. Is that true? Yes. Slope of f is 3. Now, it means that slope of g of x can be computed this way. So we just say 3 times maybe m2. So if we call this one m1, so that is 3 times m2 must be -1. Remember, since m1, m2 must be -1. That is the rule, right? Okay, so now 3, we can find M2 now. That is, we can find uh, the slope. So that is M2 equals to -1/3. That is the slope of the new line, or slope of G. Now, what do we know? We know the slope of G, M is -1/3, and it passes through the point 3, 0. So, again, we do the same thing. We do the same thing we did the other time. So, using point slope form, we know that y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So that is y minus, our y1 again is 0, x1 is 3. Our slope is -1/3 into x minus 3. So y equals to -1/3 times x minus 3. So that is that. Okay. So you can pause this video and do the same thing. Given the function h of x equals to 2x plus minus 4, write an equation for the line passing through the origin 0, 0 that is parallel to h of x and perpendicular to h of x. Just exactly what we just did. Another example, a line passes through the point. You don't need to draw, but let us visually see that. A line passes through the points -2, 6, -2. Oh, okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this point, -2, 6. The other one is 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This seems to be the point. Okay. So this is the line. Okay, this is the line. A line passes through the points, these 2 points, yeah, this point and this point, right? Okay. You don't need to draw it, I'm just showing you. Find the equation of a line, find the equation of a perpendicular line that passes through the point 4, 5. That is, we want to find a line that behaves this way. Remember what perpendicular means? It means at 90 degrees. This is not going to be perfect, but we are looking for a line that passes through this point 4, 5, and it is perpendicular to our line. Let's call this line L, L1. Then we are looking for L2 that passes through that point, and it is perpendicular to L1. Does that make sense? Well, I hope it makes sense. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, all what we need to do is we can find the slope of this line 1. So because that will tell us some story about the slope of the second line. Is that true? Yes. Slope of line 1 can find by saying m equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So which is y2, this is y2, this is x2, this is y1, this is x1. So y2 is 5 minus y1 is 6, x2 is 4, and x1 is -2. So that is -1/6. Let me be sure that is what I have. 4 minus 2. Yes. Okay. What this tells us is that, look at that. The slope is negative. It means that that line is a decreasing function. And we can see it. Even from what I drew here, you can see it is decreasing. The y value is decreasing. You can see that. So the slope just confirms that. Now, what story or how does this help us for the other line? Well, if they will be perpendicular, if L1 is perpendicular to L2, we know that, let me call this M1. So we know that M1, the slope of line 1, multiplied by the slope of line 2 must be -1, right? So which means that -1/6 times M2 must be -1. So this is the same thing as minus M2/6 equals to -1. I can also put over 1. So if I cross multiply this, that implies that -M2 equals to -6. And therefore, M2 equals to 6, right? If you divide both sides by -1, so M2 is 6. Okay, now let us find the equation of that line. Equation of that line. Well, now we know that the slope M2 is the slope of line 2, right? Now, we know that line 2 passes through points. We know that line 2 passes through 0.4, 5. Now, if that is the case, now here we know that M2 is 6, right? So we have everything. So again, use your point slope form. No, that is y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So that is y minus y1 is 5. I hope you know now at this point. Slope is 6. X minus x1 is 4. So you can leave it this way, except the question is saying you should write it in slope intercept form. No, so you can just leave it that way. You're fine. Or if you continue to write it in slope intercept form, that is also fun. So I'm just telling you, you can stop there. So y equals to 6x minus 24 plus 5. And y equals to 6x minus 19, I believe. Yes. Yes. Oh, no, is that true? Right. Okay. I hope that makes sense, guys. So now maybe let us see. Look at the equation we have. Yeah. Okay. We don't even have equation of the first line, but we were able to use ideas because we have 2 points through which the first line passes through. So we're able to use that idea to find the equation of the second line. Try it at the lines, these parallel. Well, look at this. This line, this line and this line, are they parallel? All what you need to do is find their slope. The slope here, the slope for this guy, m is -8. Yes. But here, the slope is not -1/8. Look at the way it is written. We have x here, we have y here. You need to first rewrite it in this form. Y equals to mx plus b. So if we rewrite this, we will have, so x equals to -1/8, y -6. I can multiply through by 8. So that is 8x equals to minus y minus 48. I can multiply through by -1, or I can bring this guy to the other side and bring this one to the other side. So it's the same thing. So that is y equals to -8x minus 48. Or you can do it however you know how to solve that. But my point is, rewrite this in a way that it will mimic the standard y-intercept form, slope-intercept form. Rather. Now, in this case, we can say the slope of this graph is -8. Oh, what can we say? The slope of the first one is -8. The slope of the second one is -8. Therefore, we say they are perpendicular. I'm sorry, they are parallel lines because the slope are the same. Parallel line. Why? They are since they are perfect. Okay, since they have same slope. Okay, another one, a line passes through this point, find the equation of a perpendicular line that passes through this. That should be way easy for you now to solve. Here is another problem here. Let me see if I should solve it for you or you can handle it. Use the figure below to identify the following for the function j of t. Y-intercept. The guy in, is it orange, is j, and this guy in, I think, blue is h. So the question is, find for the function j of t, find y-intercept. Well, you know what that means. For j of t, this will be the y-intercept, right? The y-intercept is what? Y equals to 5. Or you write it as 0,5. That is the point. That is when x is 0, y is 5. X-intercepts. Now, I've not talked about x-intercept, but your guess is good as mine. If y-intercept is the point when x is 0, if y-intercept is the point where x is 0, x-intercept is the point when y is 0. So, in that case, this is the x-intercept, or the point where your line passes through the x-axis. In this case, the t-axis. So, the slope. Now, I believe you should be able to find the slope. I will leave you with that to find the slope. Is j of t parallel or perpendicular to h of t? Find that out. Is j of t an increasing or decreasing function? Find that out. Write a transformation description for j of t from the identity toolkit function f of x equals to x. J of t. We've done a lot of fun stuff on transformation. So for this j of t, what is the behavior of that transformation with respect to a function that behaves like this. So try to figure that out. And I believe that is the end of my note. So I will end this recording now, and I believe this should be enough for you on reviewing linear function. So I will see you guys in class. Bye bye.